Uh, Very good evening to everybody. It is very warm welcome from Mr. Divya Prasannan Ganesh IAS Academy. I am very privileged to give this offer to me because I am also a one among the outcome of Ganesh IAS only. We prepared our civil service over there only in the year of 2004 to 5, and especially this institute provide a very good support to us in the part of public administration and polity and geography and every subject matters, because that time Chennai only have the 3-4 institute only, in which Ganesh IAS Academy is one of the pioneer in that place. They give a very good support and very good material, and whenever we need any specific thoughts, they will give support us very yes. Because of them only we are sitting in a very good position here. So once again, we thank to our Ganesh Subramaniam sir. He is one of our guide and will in this part. And now we are going for the gig economy. Before that, I am why I am related to this topic is before this posting as assistant labor commissioner, I was an assistant welfare commissioner, the Ministry of Labor and Employment, in labor welfare organization. In that labor welfare organization, we are only catering the needs of unorganized sectors, because organized sector people have all the facilities. They have the ESI, they have the EPF, they have workman compensation, they have ID Act, everything. But unorganized worker don't have anything such facilities. The unorganized sector is one of the most vulnerable sector to identify and to cater them. When I was in the labor welfare assistant labor welfare commissioner, I cater the work of BD worker and cigar worker and limestone worker, because in the BD worker we cannot identify who is the employer, because so much of subcontractor is there. Like that, in senior worker we cannot identify the employer, because the employer-employee relationship is very meager in that area. So like that time only we started for gig worker also. So I have some hands-on experience of gig workers and gig economy in this part. So I am very opportunity to present this PPT and the lecture. And gig economy, what is gig worker? Actually, the gig worker is not a new concept. It is a very, very old one. Because when we are in our home, we have the homemaid and a home servant. The home servant have the very flexi time. She will come by 6 o'clock, go by 7 o'clock for one house, and she will go by another house with their flexi times. Like that, our home servant, homemaids are doing the work in previous. Like our taxi driver also like that. But nowadays, this concept is much elaborated through the any other point of view, because of that globalized and liberalized world. So the gig economy is nowadays is have a very good potential for the employment generation. Actually, in gig economy, a segment of service is economic based, flexible, temporary, freelance job, often involving connecting clients. Yes, it is a temporary base. It is a freelancing base, and whenever the client need, that time only they operated. Actually, it is classified into two segments. One is a platform worker and non-platform worker. The platform worker are those who are doing the software services and application based platform based application. They are called platform workers. Non-platform worker, those who are doing the casual wage worker in that own accounts and conventional sector, like our Swiggy, like our Zomato, like our Uber. So they are doing that the non-platform worker times. Actually, in gig worker, those who are livelihood outside the traditional employer. Here you cannot differentiate who is a employer and who is a employee. Here, the employer-employee concept, the concept is absent. They are telling they are service partners. So the service partner concept only is provided in the gig economy. So what is the growth of gig economy? The gig economy can serve up to 90 million jobs in non-farm sectors in India, with the potential to add 1.25 GDP over the long term. Because now India is a very emerging economy, one of the emerging economy. So in that GDP level, 1.25 percentage GDP growth can given by that gig economy. It can serve around 90 million jobs. And India moves towards the global becoming a US dollar 5 trillion economy is a major building block of our unemployment rate. What is the globalization and what is an effect on the formal sector? What is the formal sector? Formal sector means it have the very clear cut thing. The employer-employee relationship is built, and the social security is to be given to the worker, and the ESI EPF contribution is there. So the formal sector is more or less like a full-time job, and people have that the employer-employee relationship. They have all the security like that. But the growth of globalization, it disturbs the formal sector, because the globalization given that a rapid urbanization, the urbanization is going very rapid, and automation is there, and digital revolution is there. So it break the formal sectors, because no employer want the bonding with the employee. They want only profit, how to get a profit only. So they are going different dimension. So that dimension, one of that thing, the informal sector of gig economy is now going very good. But what happened in that thing now, because the in previously in formal sector the union activities are much more, but informal activities you cannot believe on that union activities, trade union activities. Now they have a very good bargaining power of the self individual itself, and automatically regular workforce is reduced, even for manufacturing sector, even for construction sector. The regular manufacturing, regular workers force is now reduced. Now this type of specialized service, those for a very specialized needs, that only now cater for all the segments. So according to the Boston Group, a gig workforce comprised 50 million workers employed across the industries such as software, shared service, and professional service. Especially the gig economy, you can see only in that service sector only. Mostly they are in professional service, software service, and shared service. And in according to the 2019 report, the fifth largest flexi staffing global, US and China, Brazil, Japan, now is India is there. So they have a very good thing. And what is the detrimental effects of increase of informalization? What is the, if the informalization sector is improved, what are the problem we will face? Actually, we cannot determine the employer-employee relationship, lack of social security, less bargaining power, lack of social security, and these are all the things are increased in the informal sector. But anyway, that the gig economies will give the 56% of the new employment growth. According to the report, it will give the 56% of the new employment growth. Here, the government role is to regulate the gig economy and the gig workers and give a more security to the worker. That is a main concept here. So what is the pros and what is the cons? You saw what is the pros? The pros are the flexible, because here higher flexibility in work leverages, the labor productivity and freelancers. So here the flexibility is much and more. Whenever a person want to work, he may work. If they don't want to work, there is no compulsion. And innovation in this method, now we see lot of innovations coming. For new sector, trades are improved. Homemade sectors improved, articulture sector improvement, and all the service sector improved with the innovations and speed. They increase work efficiency and expertises and quick and easier. It's give a very speed thing, because here the formal thing is not there. Whenever you have the very formal relationship with your worker, that time only we have to follow all the rules. When it is not like that, automatically the speed and accuracy, everything will come out, and it's a very benefit to the our GDP also. And it is a very big employment generation, because now India have a very youth population. We have the now we have the demographic dividend. So to cater their work, to give to work to them also. So the gig economy is give a very good support to us to give employment to the people, and other things also. These are all the pros. Especially in the pros contest, if you see, it's more pros to the employer, not to the employee, because here we are not able to give the more formal sector work to the our own employee. Now we are giving the informal sector workers. So what are the cons? The freelancer work with the multiple bias and disclosure of confidentially working this to the risk. So the freelancer doesn't know who is the employer. He just give his work. Maybe his work may be repeated. Maybe it's given to somebody also. And higher level of dissatisfaction, because the monetary benefit only give not good effect to the employee. Sometimes the moral support is there. Sometimes the social support is there. So that time only they give a good output. A lot of study is there. If you go for our older personal management thought, the Maslow hierarchy theory is there. So the hierarchy theory is very clearly tell. First is the our basic needs, then social needs, and work actualization needs. So when the work actualization need is coming, that time only people will do good job, because here only the monetary aspect only will give, but there is no other than that nothing is there. So the level of dissatisfaction may be high and weakening of bargaining power. Here now we see how that our presently when we are going to the auto or car, we see how that Ola or Uber people are suffering. You see, when you travel from one place to another place, they are charging only 150 rupees. Maybe for us is very less for employer side also. But the worker who is doing the work, he don't have get a good amount of amount, because he have to pay some commission to that Ola also. Because now the Olas or Ubers are monopolized in our taxi sector in Chennai. So the thing is, the consumer have the good experience. The jig operator have the good experience, but the person who are doing real work, the worker are very suffering. We are seeing in several cases also. So then again, the lack of social security. Nobody covered with any social security aspect. What is social security? Social security is like a pension, like our provident fund, ESI, because here we cannot clearly distinguish between who is the employer and who is the employee. If the employer is there, we can easily get the contribution from the employer. You pay this one. The employee will pay this one. Government pay this one. We can create one corpus fund. Based on the corpus fund, we can give a pension. We can give some benefit to the worker when he has a sick, when he has a health problem like that. But here, the lack of social security is very less. The same time, the uncertainty of income. If you see that thing, people only ask the rating. Whenever the Swiggy boy serve the food to us, he ask rating. Why? The rating only can sustain the job. If you are not give the good rating, automatically that fellow maybe not get any other calls. That whole day he will sit alone. So here the employer is not giving any certificate. The only the consumer only will give the certificate of the rating or commands. That thing are very important. So it make a very uncertainty of income of the person who is engaged as a gig worker, and ambiguity of the employment sector. So the employment sector is a very ambiguous nature, because now this sector is increased. The informal sector is increased. Automatically every employer want to this type of a job opportunity. No one want to create a regular work to the people. Everybody thinking how we get a work, how we pay the money without any overhead cost. So it is a trend which give a very bad impact on the labor side. The next one. So the gig worker and future of the work, who can benefit from consumers? Yes, ultimately the consumer have the very good support from the gig worker. They have more satisfaction. The gig economy is democratizing the access to the many type of service, making more affordable, more efficient, and more cheaper. So the consumer are more benefited than worker. Workers see the platforms already generate income and convenient flexible times. The workers have the only thing is generate the income and convenient and flexible time. In other side, they don't have anything. In entrepreneurs, they have a formula of generating significant benefit to the entrepreneur, and different levels they're making so much of money through the gig economy. So what are all the area in which the benefits of gig worker? It is based on one survey. It is very clearly shows that 48% like it that benefit because of autonomy and control. Because whenever you working with the regular employer, That time you have to get your leave, you have to get your salary. All the problem is there. But when you are going as a gig worker, there is no need for such thing. 48% is autonomy and control, and 19% is the seeking better job, earning while, and 48% is balancing career with the family needs. So you can easily carry your family needs and balancing career. And only 22% people only have that make an income, and 55% of people they are thinking about making extra income on other side. So this is the general classification. What are the benefit to the gig worker? So benefit to the gig economies, gig companies, gig worker are viewed as an economic hire. So it is economic hire only. So you can hire and fire anybody, and based on the rating and based on that other condition, he can hire and fire anybody. So gig worker viewed as an economy hire, and save employee benefits. The overhead benefit of the employee cost will be saved by the employer. Attracting talent as per the current needs, because every day the market is changed, the new scenarios come. So if a regular worker na, he cannot hire and fire immediately. If like a gig worker na, based on the scheme, based on the talent, he can hire anybody and fire anybody. So his business will be succeed at the very large level. And 66% of large company give a gig worker and save on labor cost. Mostly the people to save the labor cost, they are very attracting to that gig workers. And mostly they are not called their workers, they called their partners. So no liability for the worker because they are called partners. They are called service partners. If you ask Ola, is a service partner, and if you ask Uber, is a service partner. But partner means the sharing will be equal. But here, partner will only get some commission or some increment only, not more than that. So why a growing trend among the youth? Because changing attitude towards the work by millennials and Gen X, and allowing prioritizing on work and freedom to select company and task, increased ability to travel, spend time with family, low work pressure, work from home facilities. So this is all the benefits. The youth are more preferring to go with as a gig worker rather than the formal employment. So there are some example: Uber, Swiggy, Ola, Zomato, Etsy. They are now famous gig worker platforms. So what is the difference between the gig worker and traditional worker? The gig worker is very short term work. It's a targeted work. It's a time bound work, and it does not have much more relations with that traditional work, which is very long term, which is very understandable one. And gig worker have that very flexible work hours. He can work one hour per day or 5 hour per day or a whole day he can work. So here the problem is coming. A person is working whole day, that time we are exploiting the person, because our labor law is very clearly telling we have the 8 hours to 12 hours only our working hours. But here the name of money we are exploiting more. So here flexible work hours we are telling, but flexible working hours it should be regulated. It should be 8 hours or 12 hours only. But if it is more than that, now automatically the employee health will be spoiled, and his potential spoiled. A lot of problem is there. In traditional, it's a work on scheduled time. Gig work is a contract. I don't say it is a contract because contract work is different. They are called partners. They are not contract employees. They are called partners. But in traditional work, it is called employment. And the gig worker paid for specific tasks. So one task is over, then your job is over. But traditional worker task for a week and month and year. Even though work is given by the employer, they have to pay for that month. Whether it is a problem of employer or employee, that is the second thing. But it should be catered by the employer. And the gig worker, the problem is their own resources. They have the mobile phone, they have the bank account number. So all the resources should be created by the gig worker only. But here, company resource can be utilized at the par. So this is the difference between the gig worker and traditional worker. According to the Nidhi Aayog report, according to the Nidhi Aayog report, now this much of workers has increased doing work in that our gig worker. The retail traders around 2.6 lakhs, and transportation is 13 lakhs, and finance and industry 6.3 lakhs, manufacturing 6.2 lakhs, education 1%, like that. In which, if you see that middle skilled job 47% are working in that medium skilled job, and 31 are low skilled, and 22 are high skilled. So that is the criteria for that. In which again the Niti Aayog report is very clearly mentioned about. So especially the gig worker expected to expand 23.5 million workforce by 2029 and 30. So nearly about 2.35 crores workers may be engaged in gig workforce in 29-30. Is a very big amount. And in 2020 survey, around 7.7 million workers are engaged in gig economy. So it's a very big amount if you compare with the other level. And the potential of gig sector, if you see now, is estimated around 56% of new employment in India being generated by the gig economy across blue collar and white collar workforce. So in blue collar and white collar workforce, around 56% of new employment may be generated by the gig economy. And while the gig economy is prevalent among the blue collar jobs in India, demand for gig work and white collar jobs such as project specific consultant, sales people, web designer, content writers, software developers also emerging. But we have to cater the very important for a blue collar worker, because white collar worker maybe is a very big service professional. They are paying their amount also very big, so they will manage their own show. There is no question for the white collar worker, because they are a very highly skilled professional. They know how to get the money for themselves. But in the blue collar jobs worker is there, we have to concentrate on the blue collar worker, because they are daily wage earner. They are unorganized segment. They are not have any support from the government side also. So this blue collar jobs worker, we have to monitor and give a good security to them. And the gig economy can serve up to 90. Already this data we seen. That is 90 million job are given. And one more point is that also we discussed. That is already we discussed the thing that is 29-30, around 23.5 million workers in gig workers. In 2020 studies, 7.7 million workers engage in gig economy, and it's contribute around 1.25% GDP over long term. Maybe these are the data maybe sometime asked in our examination patterns also. So what are all the challenges in gig sector? It is naturally unregulated nature. They don't have job security and they only have the few benefits. However, gig economy, respect to the workers not getting any social security, insurance, and extension of informal sector and prevalent long time remained unregulated. It is an unregulated sector. So wherever unregulated sector is there, automatically the labor exploitation is much more. Because why our labor law is legislated, what they enacted for ID Act, for Factories Act, or ESI Act, EPF Act, why they enacted? Because during the time of British period, the labor are more exploited. They don't have any bargaining power. They don't have any rights to discuss with them. So that's why the act are regulated. Now, in different dimension, because of the globalization, the scene has changed. We are telling our economics very grow. Yes, economies grow, but meantime, the victimization of labor and the victimization of labor and other aspect of labor is not catered by the employer. So this is all the area we have to work, because it's very unregulated nature. We have to regulate. That time only the major segment of the society will be benefited. Otherwise, those who are earning, they will get more earning. Those who are not earning, they will not at all get anything from the thing. They is in other way, maybe it's a labor exploitation also in sometime maybe called like that. So it's unregulated nature. And second one is need for skills. Yes, the worker need skilled enough. Unless person extremely talented, his bargaining power will necessarily limited. While the companies routinely invest in training employee, JK economy worker will have to upgrade his skills. Yes, and then who will give a training? Because your employer-employee relationship is not there. Then who will support them and who will give the training? So that's why their platform should be set up by the skill development ministry. The skill certificate and skill passport to be given to the particular worker. If a gig worker have the skill passport or the skill certificate, automatically his bargaining power may be increased. So the government also to support the skill worker, because if in India you see most of the worker engaged in that very low level worker, but if you want to improve their economic side, automatically they have to train and skill level also should be increased. That time only our job pattern will be changed. Otherwise, here gig worker only for that our taxi service, only for food delivery service, like that only. So we have to improve their skills. That time only the major portion of the gig worker in the skilled in the skilled part. So once they attain the skill, now automatically they have a good bargaining power. They will get from the employer. So the improvisation of skill is the another important aspect in that skill development, and encourage the fair competition and innovation. It is not only for the gig worker but also for the employer side, because government can encourage a fair competition, having regulation that prevent companies from misclassifying worker as independent contractors by enforcing fair trade practices. Here, the fair trade practices must be important, because in the formal sector we have the Industrial Dispute Act. There we are very clearly mentioned unfair trade practices. If we are doing this type of trade practices, penalized by the court of law. But here there is no such law. So we need the fair trade practices. How the incentive can be given, how the commission will be given, how you can treat your service partner. So like that we have put regulations. If you are not put any regulations, automatically the gig platform employer, they expand that trade very well, but the worker who is getting the support is losing his job because of rating, because of consumer feedback, because of their own ifs and buts. They're automatically terminating a person, a service partner. He can engage another service partner. Then automatically they increase their commission without knowing anybody. Even government also not knowing why they are increase their service. Because in last 3-4 years, when we are going with the auto from one area to another area, it may be charged by the Ola by 100 rupees only. But nowadays it's changed. It's become 180 rupees, 190 rupees. But if you ask that driver whether you get this amount, he tell no sir, I will get this amount only. These are the service charge conditions, they will taken away. So this is all the area we have to work it out to cater the worker side also. So another thing is the encourage the fair competition means, because here the gig worker are engaged by the very big company only, Ola, Uber, other things. But what about the social? What about the new entrepreneurs? What about to the what we call the Make in India product? So in the institutional credit should be given. Access to the institutional credit may be given to the financial products, specifically dishonest worker, woman worker, and unsecured loans also given to them, and some priority sector lending also to be given to the special handicapped persons and the women also. So because now all the people want to do something, but they don't have the institutional support from the banks. So in this aspect, the government give good guidelines to the bank also. Those who are coming as a new entrepreneur, skill India or made in India in the concept, they have to give a more loan to the JIG platform also through the way of institutional credit. Yes, the Rajasthan platform-based Jikorka. This is the first act in India. We can call the first act in India. The Rajasthan government they enacted Jikorka's Welfare Act. It's a very good initiative. I think recently Tamil Nadu government also set up the Jikorka Welfare Fund. Not by act, they set up by through that our gazette notification. They set up the Tamil Nadu Jikorka Welfare Fund. But through this act, the Rajasthan platform-based Jikorka is a very important one. It's passed by the year of 2023. It's the first registration, and it applies to the aggregators and the primary employers. So those who are connecting buyers and sellers, they call aggregators and the primary employers. And the welfare board is there, and minister in charge of labor department. Labor department looking after the welfare board. The welfare board, they have a committees like advisory committee, like screening committee, like that. The welfare board will take care of the gig worker, social security, and other aspect. And fund, there is a one fund to be created for the gig worker. The fund is called Social Security Fund. The welfare board create a social security and welfare fund comprising of individual workers, state government, and other source of thing as a welfare sex. So whenever we engage the service of the gig worker, that time some amount of cess will be collected by the gig worker, that company, and the company has to pay to the this board. The same time, employee, that gig worker also pays to give some amount to this board. Based on this board, we can do all the welfare activity. Like for health, we can set up a dispensary. When we are creating a corpus, we can give a pension to the worker. And when we have a very good corpus, we can provide other amenities like their housing facilities, like their housing loans, and their children education scholarship program. So like that, when the welfare fund and is created, automatically through the fund, we can do better to the worker, because here the here companies, and with the sex we create a corporate fund. With the corporate fund, we can do the service to the unhonest worker, that is gig worker. And second one is access scheme to the grievance redressal. Nowadays the grievance redressal is a very important one, because they have a lot of complaints also. Because one day there are some cases in that one urban company, they are engaging some people, the people is terminated immediately, they know where to go, how to go. So somewhere that security of tenure should be established for the employment. Yeah, that time only the worker will work with good enthusiasm. So like that, wherever the grievance is received, when that aggregators is doing wrong, the aggregator doing wrong, that time we'll take the complaint with the welfare board. We will immediately inquire with that aggregator, will intervene the matter and try to settle the matter immediately. So this act have one grievance redress mechanism also. Aggregator duties. The aggregator duties are under the bill are depositing the welfare cess on time, updating the database of gig worker, and documenting any variation number of within the such changes. If they fail to comply, they find 5 lakh rupee for first offense and 50 lakhs rupees for further offense. Because here the database is very important. We don't have the government that don't have any database. Even during the time of Corona also, the unhonest database we don't have. We are telling the migrant labor, we are telling unhonest worker, but government have no database. For in this purpose, the government of India now started one e-Sharam program. The e-Sharam program is a very innovative one. It will give the number like our PAN number. It will give one labor number. Through the labor number, the labor can claim his own grievances or his own thing. Once the labor number is given, automatically he can, because his identity card. Here, gig worker don't have the identity card. Through the e-Sharam, if the auto walana, they have the identity card. Through that identity card, he can get any benefit. Because whenever pandemics happen, the government have the money, but the problem to whom to give the money, who is the right person, whether it's worker or not. So we don't have a database. Because of that, now government has created an e-Sharam database, a database for unannounced worker, in which all the gig worker also to be enrolled over there. Based on the database, whenever any such any national calamities or any situation like corona, government can distribute the fund to the worker very immediately. So the database is very important. So that here the aggregated duty is they have to updating the database where they are working, what they are working, how they are working. With the database, government can provide much improved service to the worker. So that is the thing. If they file, then they will pay this fines also. That is a very good aspect of this because this is the concept that regulate the gig worker. Because the regulation of gig worker is very important. For that we need data. So the data and all the things coming from this aggregator, automatically we can regulate their working hours and their service condition also. So existing legislation, but I don't. It is still with the parliament only. It's passed, but it's not notified. So already government of India taken a very wide step to cover all the segments. Like that I said that e-Sharam, like that one PM-SOM is there. PM-SOM is the Pradhan Mantri Swayam Rokkar Manjana. It's a pension scheme. The pension scheme, it started from the year of 18 years to 40 years. 18 years, you pay 50 rupees, government pay 50 rupees, and the interest will come. Like that through ages. When you are attaining 60 years of age, you can get 3,000 rupees as a pension for all the unannounced worker, irrespective of the job. But the age criteria is 18 to 40. That is a thing. So like that, the government of India, without implementing this act, we are already in the forerunning in this place. Like that, our code on wages 2019 provides a universal minimum wage and wage. So here the problem, the minimum wage. What is the minimum wage? Minimum wage is differ from one area to another area. There is a problem. Tamil Nadu have one minimum wage for or any worker, and in which Karnataka has one and Kerala has one. It is not common. Even government of India have one minimum rate of wages for the sectors of security guard and watch and ward and cleaning. Like that, we have some minimum work, but the minimum work so far don't have any benchmark rate. Now the government proposed one benchmark rate, that is own amount is setting, that is around 500 or 600 as a benchmark rate, benchmark wage. No person not give a wage below than that. So no one can violate. So there is there is 4,450 is fixed by government of India as a benchmark wage. Nobody can fix less than that for any kind of work. So they will fix a benchmark wage. Then the aggregators have to pay that also. So that is a very milestone of this Code on Wages Act. Then Code on Social Security recognizes the gig worker as a new occupational category. It defines gig worker as a person who performs a participate in work arrangements, earns from such activities outside traditional employee-employee relationship. So it's very clearly mentioned whether they have a traditional employee-employee relation is there or not, whether regular work or part-time work or not, there is no. But gig worker means a person participate work arrangement other than the traditional employment, they call as a gig employment. Hereafter they don't call partners or service partners. They are a gig employee only like that. So platform worker can claim benefits provided under the social security, but cannot claim the labor rights. Yeah, here again the problem, the labor rights is different and social security different. Labor right means Industrial Dispute Act is there. That act give a employer-employee relationship. Through that, even if you're terminated, you can get your job back. But here, you cannot claim the labor right. You can claim the social security, like your pension, like your health benefit, like your social security social security needs. That may be cater, and they are not entitled to go for quote stable and better package against the algorithms used by the platforms that they allocate the jobs to them. And the eligibility criteria for claiming benefits might be lead to the certain workers being excluded. So there maybe this act giving some eligibility criteria also. because those who are highly skilled worker may be not cover this purview, then they may be excluded. Those who are low and middle may be cover this area. You cannot claim better package or other things, but you can claim your social security aspect only. Next slide, please. And the code states the provision of basic welfare measures as the joint responsibility of the central government, platform aggregators, and workers. However, it does not state which stakeholder responsible for delivering the quantum of welfare. Yeah, maybe it is only a structure. Thereafter, we go for a rules and frames everything. When the rules are coming, that time is very clearly mentioned who deliver the quantum of welfare. Maybe government of India only taken the aspect with otherwise state government also taken the aspect. They deliver the welfare. There is no issue. There seems to be a duality appropriate government in certain case like provision of social security for unorganized sector worker. Yeah, sometimes because this act only it is not so far enacted and the rules are also not framed. When the perfect rules are coming, that time we know who is the appropriate government for Jigorkar also, because it's a very big definition for appropriate government. But the government can work once the act is enacted. So, what are the growth drivers of the economy in India? So, again, the rise of internet and mobile technology, the widespread adoption of smartphone, and availability of high speed of internet. These are all the things is get very growth drivers of the gig economy that increase the online platforms, facilitating the growth of gig economy. So, our 4G revolution, our 5G revolution, our smartphones, our core banking, everything is working in this aspect. So that's why the gig economy is growing very well. Increasing demand for flexi work. Yeah, now the traditional work also people don't want. The youths don't want the traditional work also. Now some surveys also like that. So the gig economy particularly attractive of the Indian workers who are looking for a flexible work arrangements, allow them to the balance their personal and professional life. So that is another thing. And demographic factors. Gig economy also driven by the large growing number of young, educated, ambitious Indians who seeking improve their livelihoods. So the demographic factors also very important thing to growth our gig economy. And growth of e-commerce. Yes, we know that e-commerce lead a significant increase, because when we are studying e-commerce, that time we don't know what is a e-commerce. We are seeing our TV. In TV, somebody is coming and showing something. We are thinking that is e-commerce, but when the gig platform is coming, the way in which the e-commerce is changed, like Flipkart, Amazon, our other service delivery, they are making the growth of e-commerce much better and higher. So the growth of e-commerce in India is significant increase in demand and delivery of logistics services that increases gig economy again. Then again, what are all the issues associated with the gig economy? Already we discussed that anyway, when with the lack of job and social security, many gig workers in India are not covered by the labor codes and do not have the access to the benefits such as health insurance and retirement plans. Accordingly, gig workers often do not receive any same level of protection as traditional employees in the event of injury or illness. So this is very important aspect. The government is now working on that. So how to give social security and how to enable them in a productive way. So government is now working. Maybe within 1 hour, within the 1 or 2 year, government may give a good solution for that social security aspect also. Because in other governments also putting pressure, like our UK and the US putting more case against Uber for this aspect. So because they want to regulate the job, because they are also the gig economics is very versatile and very wide. So now they are putting so pressure to the aggregators to regulate their job codes and the social security. Like that, Indian government also in coming days will be work hard. And digital divide is again the thing. So those who are in the urban area, those who are in the metropolitan, they only have this facility to do as a gig worker, even for the employer as well as for the employee. But because of the internet access and barrier for the resources, so this that lead the income inequality are very more. The digital divide is one of the phenomena to make divide India in another segmented way. So this area also to be concentrated to increase our internet connectivity and another aspect to the all the area. So that time, even our farmers and our other activities also to be increased. They also joined in our gig economy. And lack of data, already I told you that lack of data, because the problem is now the unattended sector, we don't have any data. For an interstate migrant worker, we don't have any data. The data should be very essential when you are making scheme. Without data, you cannot make any scheme to anybody. Any welfare activity or any welfare scheme or anything, we need data. So that's why now government initiate the e-Sharam project. The e-Sharam project is identity labor identity number. So far, I think in Tamil Nadu, more than 75 lakh of workers are joined in the e-Sharam. All over India is 25 crores more than that, the unannounced worker. So government now making very dedicatedly to take it to collect the data. So once the data is collected, automatically the program will be delivered to the people. And expectation of the companies, the gig workers in India are often paid less than traditional employees because they don't have legal protection. Yes, so that's why we are concerned about things. So here, this area should be regulated by the government, some other act, because social security only given on the part of worker, but the exploitation of labor is a very important aspect that should be given more adequate importance, because when the profit is coming, that time the company will run the show. Once they gain the profit, then immediately if they close now, automatically the worker will suffer a lot. That time we maybe get a very big problem in future. So that the exploitation of company should be regulated in such a way. That time only the gig worker interest and also the national interest should be protected. And clear regulations again, the India government should be established clear regulations, the policies of gig economy to ensure the gig worker protected and the companies and held accountable. So we need a very clear regulations. What are all the commissions, what are all the incentives, and what are all the social security, what are all the benefits that should be regulated. That time only that worker interest should be safeguarded. Once the worker interest is safeguarded, automatically the national interest is safeguarded, and automatically it give a good boom to our economy also. And again, social security blanket. The government should be ensure the gig worker have the social security programs such as pension scheme, health, and financial securities. And it should be granted the same labor rights and traditional employee including right to organize the farm unions. Now some areas, some grievances. In future, it will be in a big way, because without unions, we cannot get your right, because single tree cannot be a garden. So when the union rights are protected, when the worker rights are protected, when they together as a union, automatically they will get a good thing from the government as well as the employer. So education training, the government should invest the education training programs for gig workers to improve their skills, because if they not improve the skill, automatically the most of segment in our very customary area only, like drivers, like logistics support, food delivery, like that only the lower skill developer, lower level skill worker only engage. But the government want to improve in the side of high skilled worker. So government has to give the education training and encourage the fair competition and innovation. So not only a big company, and also government should give a more loan, more institutional credit to the small entrepreneur also. That time only they also join our gig economy. So the same point is repeated. I think I don't want to repeat again. So this is very important, linking with the women and empowerment gig economy, because in our India, our working population of women is very less, because in traditional employment method, we are not allow the women to join in our economic sphere. But in gig economy, being if they have a very good skill, they have very specialized knowledge, if they have very professional, automatically they also to be mingled with this team, and women empowerment also should be taken care in this part. So the gig economy is one of the good way to bring the women empowerment to all the field. Thank you. I think I give only little bit idea about gig worker, but it's one of the core area, especially from the aspect of UPSC. In mains also maybe some questions may be come, and the prelims also maybe it may be asked. Concentrate on this area. because it is very booming area. So especially the labor aspect, in forthcoming year we are have that wage code and social security code and working condition code and other codes also. So concentrate on this area. Maybe it may be because it may be used for interview aspect also. If they're not asking prelims or mains, it surely may be asking interview, because we are every day we are mingle with these people by the way of Ola or Uber, and we are connecting people. So any questions may be asked in this area also. So make thorough and make clear on this aspect. So that time it will be enable your preparation in good side. Thank you.